problem I see with people is that they can't intercept that attitude at that moment and change it. And that's why they keep experiencing the same circumstances over and over again. And they keep staying stuck at Groundhog Day, right? So the mirror of reality reflects your attitude. Now, what happens for most people is they look at reality, they look at what's happening around them, and then they form an attitude. Form attitude.
Right.
When they form this attitude,
right.
The next step in the process is reality reflects it. Right? And when reality reflects it, then they observe this phenomenon. People will observe the reflection. So observe reflection. So this is the order in which it happens. This is step 1. Reality reflects is step 2. And observing reflection is step 3. Guys, I really hope you can see this. I'd be really bothered if you can't and I have to remake this video. So, alright, looks good. So, you form your attitude first by observing reflection, and then reality reflects it. Actually, I got this wrong. So how most people do it is they begin by observing what's around them. They observe the reflection, number 1, and they use that reflection to form the attitude. So, to give you a concrete example of this, you get slapped with a bill, and it takes up a lot of your money, so you observe that reflection. Oh no, bill. Form attitude. Oh no. Okay, so bill, oh no, this is bad, and reality now looks at this and it's like, oh, okay, bad attitude, reflect bad attitude. And this is what happens. And then when reality reflects that, they observe it again, like, oh, another bad thing happened. And this is how people over time become pessimists. And this pessimistic attitude keeps getting reflected and keeps them stuck in a loop, right? So, how do you overcome this? How do you overcome this cycle? And how do you master the mirror of reality? Well, you've got to intercept at this stage. And you've got to choose the attitude that you want consciously. So instead of this happening now, instead of forming your attitude number 2, you simply begin with your chosen attitude. Okay? So now you start off, well, I want to be wealthy. I want to have a successful business. Form attitude. Quasi is a successful business owner. Okay. Well, what will happen now is reality will naturally reflect that because it's the attitude you've chosen, even if it's in the tiniest bit. Let's say you make the attitude of, okay, Quasi is a successful business owner, and then you make a video or something, and the video gets some good responses. So now, reality reflects that just in the tiniest bit because you've just started off with this attitude. And what you do is you observe that reflection, even the tiniest bit, and you use that to... You're like, oh look, it is happening. The video got some good responses, people are really benefiting from this, must be a really good video. Must mean I am becoming a successful business owner. And then you keep staying in that loop. Okay, so what we've just done is we've become conscious creators of our life. Now, the other biggest problem most people face is they just fall unconscious. Like at the key moments in their lives, we become so identified with our goals. Let's say you've learned all of this stuff and now you're like, oh, well, I've done all this. Why isn't it working out for me? And when you express, why isn't it working out for me? You're admitting that it's not working and that becomes your attitude. Do you see that? So you can never, stop playing the game. If it's not working, sure, you can accept in the moment it's not working. But if you keep complaining and you keep just bashing reality and...
Yeah, bashing reality. Yes, people, let's just get started straight away. You know who I be. My name's Courtney Winston. Big up, Dion. How you doing, me old matter? How you doing, darling? Good to see ya. Good to see you all. Dean, we're going to just bring you in straight away, my brother. So, we're bringing in Dean, who is our guest for Black Car Speakers Lounge this Sunday. Black Car Speakers Lounge. Off day of the month. Yes. So, everybody welcome Dean, our special guest on Black Car Speakers Lounge. Yes, King.
Yes, King. Long time, God.
Long time. Looking good, looking handsome, looking great. Yes, sir.
Rewarding myself more with the food and the options in life that I should take.
Come on.
How are you, King?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I haven't even seen you since we had a mutual friend, Sai. Sarita, when you took up the kickboxing.
Yes.
And you completely changed form and looked like you could fold cats into t-shirts.
You know what, the kickboxing, brother, I haven't done any sparring for a bit. I usually train with my brother, who's a mixed martial artist cage fighter, professional, and I train with the team as well in Southeast London. I haven't trained with them for a minute, but I need to get back on it. But I've been doing my own little training at home, doing some Royal Marine push-ups, that kind of stuff, the beat test, getting my fitness up, you know? So I'm pretty proud of myself, you know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, good. That's the family though, brother.
Blessed, King.
Awesome,
no
man.
complaints whatsoever.
I just want to say to everybody, this will be on YouTube. This is on YouTube. So subscribe to our YouTube channel of the Black Film Institute. YouTube, follow, like, subscribe, thumbs up, share, and all the rest. Big up Garfield and Nanny that I set up in the room, and everybody come up into the Instagram room to get your instant knowledge and enlightenment. So, Dean, please tell us, who are you and what do you do? What inspired you on your journey, my brother?
I am Dean Okai Snr to Dean Okai Jr.
Come on.
At this juncture of my life, spirit inspires me. I talk to a lot of people, I listen to a lot of people, and a crowd always thinks that they have a mass influence over you. And it's funny, I went to a gentleman's event yesterday. Beautiful, fantastic event
Right.
at the ICA.
Okay. Ooh, dropping all over the place, sorry.
No problem, Kim. I'm trying to stay consistently on my square these days.
I think I just dropped. All right, go ahead.
Stafford Scott's Fire in a Babylon, and he invited me on the opening. And although I had promoted it the whole time,
Yes.
from the pre-opening, I hadn't been there. And he said, you're supposed to come down on the first day. And I said, God, but now I got to move in my own time.
Yes, sir.
Based on feelings, based on my intuition. I know lots of people, and that's not to say anybody takes any hierarchy, but there are lots of things that you're called to. And it's beautiful what we were listening to before this started, because what that was conveyed is where I am right now. Everything is mind. And we're going to come back.
Mind, you said mind?
Everything is mind. Now we're going to come back to this. I'm just going to touch on that first. Everything is mind. Because everything that informs your spirit, because I'm a light being, I'm spiritual, is formed by your frame of mind. And your frame of mind is what chooses all your options. So I know over the course of my life, I've made a lot of crap decisions based on the information that I had, which is why I learned the lesson the hard way with the potato dirt under my fingernails. Because I was never privy to the esoteric knowledge. I was never privy to the kind of information that would have got me there quicker as a hack. So the reason that people like me can give hacks is based from life experience, but don't think I'm smart. I'm just not stupid where I am now, based off of the mistakes that I've made that have informed my journey, which is very informed because I went out very early at the gate and made 1,000,001 mistakes. And hearing me over the course of 17, 18 years, you know that I don't speak any differently today than I did 17, 18 years ago. But you can know intellectually which isn't knowing.
Come on.
Knowing was secondary, like brushing your teeth in the dark, like using the toilet and hitting the bowl without one drop, exceeding that circumference because you know. Your experience is too much, it's secondary. Now, if you know intellectually, you're going to come back in the morning when you turn the light on and you're going to have to do some mopping up because you thought you knew, because you knew intellectually, but you didn't know, which is a very different conundrum altogether.
Wow. Wow. Brother, you're like a dictionary all in one, you know, and a thesaurus, you know. When you speak so eloquently and grammatically correct. I love the way you phrase your words. And to me, brother, you're like a Malcolm X in the way how you speak and how you articulate your points. And I love it, brother. The importance of being literate, you know, and being read. And a lot of people really think that being literate or read is parallel with academia, going to school, which is important, going to college. And it's not, because Malcolm X was a man who didn't graduate or succeed academically in mainstream school, but yet confounded the wise experts of this world, the learned minds of this world. And a man like him is proof and evidence to the claim that we bring that if you just put your mind into books, informing yourself so one can make the right informed decisions, then we can be in a better place. And I see that with you, brother. You could be a politician, you could run for mayor, man, goddamn it, you could run for president and prime minister, brother, the way how you present yourself. And I'm not just saying that because I know you personally, brother. I'm saying that from the outside looking at you, brother. You have an image inside and out that would not only pleasing aesthetically, but you really phrase your words so well. You know, big up Thomas Family Management. And man like yourself, it's important that we have man like yourself on Black Car Speakers Lounge so that we can convey to the whole world how many black male role models are out there. I'm sick and tired of hearing, oh, there's no black role model. Oh, yes, there is. There's plenty of black male role models in every field of endeavor. And you are definitely one of them. You're definitely at the forefront and at the vanguard in the UK and internationally. I saw, briefly, I haven't watched it, but you done a podcast interview with Boyce Watkins. How did that go?
Well, what I wanted to convey is that we can do anything. So I was inspired when Ice Cube, and I appreciate your words incidentally, because I thought exactly the same about you. I was inspired by Ice Cube's Contract for Black America, because in all the work that we were doing towards ADPAC, I said that's what we represent, which is a national interest as an umbrella organization that specifically and exclusively represent the socioeconomics of interests of African Caribbeans in the UK. So that's not to compartmentalize anyone. I use it as a catch-all term, the same way we use black, but black doesn't mean anything, and we're going to touch on that as well.
Come on.
Which is Africans, African Caribbeans, and mixed race people of African origin. Now, when I looked at that, I said it's perfect because everybody can get involved in this living, breathing document that he's talking about. But the first thing that happened is the black media betrayed the interests of the 40 million plus population of African American people by saying, just vote Democrat, don't ask any questions, get Trump out. Wrong approach. Quid pro quo. What's in it for me? Not the individual me, the collective we of 40 million plus nationally. So because the media, just like telling us to roll up our sleeves, was on such a desperate escapade to get us to the door for and on behalf of people that were going to ignore us once they're in office, they betrayed the interests of 40 million people. And I made a decision that, I got up on. Not here, not on my watch. So when it came to the last election here, I have met with a group of people in Birmingham, the We Matter Party, just before it was actually formed as a party, who were forming a party. And I said, we must join them with ADPAC in terms of policy.
Yes.
He became the policy director of the party. I'm not your guy for the front of house. And to be frank, in my younger years, I would not stand up to the scrutiny. But I am quite happy to be in the shadows, informed of what my people need after doing a 5-year mapping exercise of what our needs are, based on putting out a number of questions over the course of those 5 years, holding live events with 150 to 250 people coming down physically for topics such as education, politics, Black love, spirituality, and media. So when you have done such a vast and varied mapping exercise that goes across LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and physically,
yes, sir,
outside of belonging to 140 WhatsApp groups that understand our entire neuroses, it kind of makes you an algorithm in the data that you collect. So you understand what our collective needs are. Based on that, I said it had put me personally in a very good stead position as a policy director to act on what our actual needs are as a people.
Come on.
And then as a magnet to aggregate solution providers going across economics, education, health, housing, media, politics, and trading industry, which is what ADPAC is as an entity. So ADPAC CIC is a national representation, like the Islamic Council, like the representation that Jews will have at the table. And this is not a grassroots organization.
Right.
It is to enable and coordinate grassroots organizations and draw down on all of the resources and being able to ring fence and signpost those resources and affect the terms of reference like African Caribbean as opposed to Black, because anybody, just like Rachel Dolezal did in the States, can self-elect to be Black.
Keep dropping the phone.
Absolutely nothing.
This phone is just absolutely getting turned up by what you're saying. It's everywhere, bruv. Zuzas is just thrown everywhere. So for Rachel, the lady who was the who tried to look Black.
No, she didn't try anything. She became the chair of the NAACP.
Wow. Jeez. People, the screen's on fire, people. We with Dean. Sorry, bro, we kind of lost you a little bit there, and I know my phone was jumping everywhere. Everything is just happening all at once. Oh my God. We're here with Dean live, Instagram, Black Card Speakers Lounge. So, yeah, she became the chair of the NAACP, and that's when people were like, oh, she's, you know, appropriating the image of Black women, and that whole hoo-ha came out. I remember that. I remember that. You know, and this is happening regular. Brother, tell us more about this party. Tell us, because it's very reminiscent of Marcus Garvey, the Marcus Garvey movement. For me, that's what comes to mind when I heard you speak on that. Because there's a lot of talking, and I'm sure our audience can agree with us. There's a lot of talking in the Black community about what needs to be done, and there's a lot of great speakers. But I see you, what you're doing, brother, and so tell us more. What are we looking to do? Because I'm not seeing myself on the sidelines there. I'm seeing myself well involved, because we are a part of that family, the African Caribbean family. And there is a huge identity crisis in this country. Take, for example, many of those who term themselves or classify themselves as biracial, mixed race, dual heritage, with all due respect. They won't see themselves as quote unquote being Black.
But you got to get the initial messaging, King. Let's start with initial messaging. So if you're dual heritage, initial messaging. Possibly Pupa was in the SAS and he served in Operation Dassa, and now you're just left with Mum. And Mum is an African origin. So the messaging may or may not be positive towards your African ancestry. Now, if it's not, what is your informed knowledge from that period of 3 to 7, our most informative stage? You go and stay with grandparents who are English, their own little frustrations and preoccupations that they get over. They love you, but there are things that still come up. So then you go to school, which is there to indoctrinate us completely. So the foundations and grounding come from home. So I can't be mad at anybody based on where they find themselves after 15, 25 years of indoctrination. And even that question of mixed heritage people, there is a young lady that I met through Instagram who's mixed race, who specifically deals in this area. And I said, as a point of policy, we have to build out a whole department that deals with mixed race concerns and issues led by mixed race people. And I said, I will hold counsel from you and these meetings you're already holding, because there's already therapy there specifically created for and by mixed race people to deliver. ADPAC's role is to aggregate solution providers to our betterment that draw us back to an African center, which is based on natural principles, Pan-African thought, African spirituality, which doesn't tell you to detract from your religion, but you may find that attractive at some point, coming into a great awareness of how we work with our ancestors in our blood flow. Even the fact that that could be interrupted by us rolling up our sleeves and having a greater understanding of that. You see, there's many ways we talk with conflation and we get caught up, well, I can't say this and I can't say that. You can't say anything. We just say roll up our sleeve. We all know what we're talking about. This is the Davos agenda that was decided by a tiny minutia of Europeans who happen to be the 1% in order to gain more control. Because what is happening on a global basis now is all of the central banking digital currencies have been created by all Western nations. Those central banking digital currencies are now going to be adopted as cash is phased out. So if you think that we are very out, this could be in 12 months. Now, if you've rolled up your sleeve, you're already barcoded and you're already recognized within the system, because the application of your injection has a barcode. So from your doctor's office, your name is aligned to that thing, where now your medical records are synced. So it's known. So we're not going to go into that because I don't want to mess up your show and have it.
No, go ahead, brother. This is a free platform, but yeah, go ahead.
From 21 Rules of Blackness. So I just want to shout out the book because I read the entire book in the park today.
Come on.
A fantastic guide. I didn't think I'd read it in an afternoon. I think I read it in about 3.5 hours, the whole book.
Beautiful.
So, beautiful book. Very simple principles, outlines for how to successfully govern this terrain. So let me shout out 21 Rules of Blackness. Go over to Amazon and purchase that right now.
Yes.
It's a great book and framework. As much as I would recommend Malcolm X, the autobiography of Malcolm X for any of our young men, I would recommend 21 Rules of Blackness for every single one of our young men and women. And I would say from about the age of 13, the same way that I would recommend universally rites of passage for all of our young men and women.
Come on. Beautiful, brother. Beautiful. And I've got my copy as well on the mantelpiece. Jason, I've got to read it. Big up Jason Glue. I'm reading it, but I'm finishing my book on law because I'm studying law. I find it's essential now to learn about law, statutes, legislation. And I'm having a wonderful time learning. And it's opened up my eyes to the matrix in terms of how the system is governed and how we are being, coerced, by the rule of law, the color of law, and by the appearance of law, but nothing to do with law whatsoever.
Nothing to do with natural law.
Natural law.
God's law.
That's right. Come on.
Common law.
Yes, sir.
Legislative law.
Come on.
So now when we talk about law, because I don't talk about legislative law. Legislative law is created for the great unwashed. No matter. Why we stay in the matrix is because the synthetic state tastes good. So you go back to your job on a Monday, because it's easy. It's not good for you because you're a human battery. But
Oh!
it's good.
Oh!
I'm not saying anything. I'm not rediscovering America for anybody because it's the same thing that the film says. I just want to outline it because now what I'm going to go into is our story. We are the African subjects who are the subjects of the 500-year European Black experiment. Now, that Black experiment is our entire involvement in the Matrix. So when you go to school and they give you a gold star, they teach you to seek approval. Do this, you're a good lad, pat you on the head, give you a gold star. I'll tell you something I did at 8 years old. One of my teachers sent me in a corner, and I felt had sent me unjustly into the corner. So because I was out of my natural niggardly mind, I went over to the star chart where I had 13 gold stars, and the closest person to me had 8 gold stars. And I picked my 13 gold stars off the chart and threw them on the carpet and rinsed them in the carpet, and then went and stood and faced the corner because I had a unique spirit of resilience. Now, when I'm sitting there in the corner, I'm saying, I don't give a ras about your stars. Yeah, I prove it. And then something stuck with me. And I could see the concern from the teacher afterwards. Because you know, like if your mother beat you too hard and then she won't give you some loving after the fact, and you leave me alone. That's what it was. I don't look for your approval anymore. I was 8. And that thing that Aleister Crowley may have been a nonce when he said, do as thou willst, but do as thou willst. Don't look for the messenger. Take away the message and the virtue of the message. Do what thou willst. That serves you and your spiritual nature. Do not wait to be a servant of approval for whoever will feed you what your diction will be. So I'm going to come back now. Remember I said everything is mind.
Come on.
So if everything is mind, then conversation is food. What you consume is food. Everything that influences everything is food. So unanyam good food or unanyam bad food? Which one? Because now remember, the food you consume, if mind is everything, that means your mind is a digestive system and it's your operating system, right? So if your mind is the digestive system and you digest in all of this, waste of time conversations, talking to people who aren't peers, who mistake proximity to being peers, who think based on you dumbing down who you are, that they are on a level that could fathom what you actually doing. No, Gosso. I'm not that charitable anymore. I used to be, and I never changed how I spoke. So my brethren in New Cross called me Malcolm from morning.
Come on.
Now, the most intelligent of them was making decisions on the road that led to ramifications that stole the most important commodity he had from him, time. And I will tell you, and I will shout out my man Jason Ebanks, because I can't beat him in chess.
Wow.
He has a genius mind. It's the application of our minds, not being aware of all the options that we have. I say the same thing to his younger brother, Mark and Coley, rapper known as Coleon.
Yeah.
Who again has the same genius mind. Now, when I shouted him 4 years ago, I said, King, let's position you as doing what Hove does to separate yourself from the team. Not before it's time, because everything is in divine time.
Come on, sir.
But they are geniuses who were informed by environment. Conversations, spiritual and mental food that cost time, which is our most valuable commodity.
Come on.
So now, in understanding this digestive system, it's going to take everything that informs it, because that's the part of the subconscious mind, and that we don't get a chance to actually filter anything out of that unless you are listening to materials at night in your dormant hours where you can reprogram your subconscious mind.
Oh, brother, talk about it. Come on.
For 2 years, completely 2 years, just materials to refocus my subconscious mind. And what happened in that period is it just connected all the synaptics. So when I'm doing my permutations, you might say a thing and I'm thinking of a name and connecting it. And the next minute I'm WhatsApping you that person who's a solution and giving you each other's backstory. So now you can enable each other. And because I came to know such an inordinate amount of people, I said, this can't be an individual thing, because it was like I was starting to get some kind of amnesia. I couldn't remember names anymore. So this had to be an institution that plays that role in terms of signposting, specifically for our people, whilst advocating, lobbying, building systems of function, which are informed by all people with functional systems.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Brilliant, brother. Brilliant. So, you know, with what you do, your experience from childhood in school, that seemed like that was the catalyst to start you on the road of self-knowledge, to red pill. So you were red pilled from the age of 8, it sounds like. And from there, you seem to have evolved into this man who now, you sound like somebody who's constantly in the search of knowledge, while we look at you and say, man, this man is so knowledgeable. But you seem so humble in your posture, brother, in that I know, but I don't know, which is beautiful. So what I love about having guests like you on this show, brother, is it, and you can see with all the comments, it shows, brother, we need more of this. I'm hearing, you know, black people say, yeah, we need our own media. We need our own media. And I'm saying, yo, we have our own media.
We have it all. We have it all.
We didn't.
So right now, anybody who is saying we need our own media, go and Google HMP TV, my brother Robert, who is one of ADPAC's delivery partners, who shoots all of our media content, including the campaigns that will be coming up in 4K, because one of the things we need to do is to shoot and curate high production value messaging, short form, to drip feed our people on a daily basis, slow exposure. But HMP TV is $2.99 subscription a month. That's my brother, that's my delivery partner in ADPAC. You could go to Knowledge Finder, my brother Eli. Now, Knowledge Finder is a distance learning platform specifically for us that has partnered with ADPAC, where we're going to be putting all of our courses on, shot in 4K, high production value, with all of our greatest people, where people will pay small fees. And any of the ADPAC members, there's a number of free courses that we're going to provide on Knowledge Finder, specifically for the betterment of African Caribbean people, whether that is financial literacy, whether it is around spirituality. Because when you said I'm aware of what I don't know, because I will continually train and upgrade, I finished a 10-week spiritual course last week with Ancestral Essence.
Yes.
With brother Edison Agbanji. And I learned to communicate directly with ancestors, where I was doing it inadvertently in the shower. When the water hit me, it will provide the solutions. But I knew who it was how. And then I think it was the 3rd week, my aunt came to me. Wasn't intentional. I was calling for my grandfathers. It just happened that my aunt came for me. Because the veil was removed completely. But you know what the veil is? Here's the simple secret. The veil is our ability to turn the noughts and ones into a photograph in our mind. So when we can see anything, we can make anything real. So if you never knew there was a green, the minute I see it, you're going to start seeing green everywhere in nature.
Come on.
So what I didn't know was revealed to me by someone who has mastered esoteric knowledge experientially, but continues on the journey of learning, but also teaches. So now you have now a junior minister in the intellectual capital and spiritual capital that I've gained, And now I will go on that journey and bring somebody else. But also now we align all of our spiritual counsel, because what Europeans have that we don't know is they have their astrologers to launch things on the correct dates.
Come
so
on.
Mama Essay, Google Mama Essay. Brilliant palmist. She read my palm, told me exactly who I was. She didn't know anything about me. So once we start to utilize the tools of our esoteric power, our acumen, our intellect, and our experience, and we do that across the board with all of our senior expertise, we're no longer reliant on a system that doesn't serve us. I wasn't a red pill at 18, and I'm not a red pill now. But that system, which is a red pill system, is what ADPAC is, because it allows us to live in a parallel universe of sovereignty.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Rob, I'm just process. And you know, regarding spirituality, now I know a lot of our people that may be listening right now, especially those whom are religious, may be spooked. I was one of those a few years ago that if you came to me and spoke about voodoo, black magic, those kind of things, then I'll be like, no. Me not in them judge.
Me too.
You know?
Me too.
And you know, and that was down to largely Western miseducation. And still
programming the food we consumed by choice, thinking the food we consume is by force.
That's right.
So the concept of choice as well.
Yes, sir. So what do we do to those who are Christian mainly, especially? Because I draw parallels, the Pentecostal church, which I was raised in, or forced to go to on a Sunday. And when I watch the Pentecostal worshippers, and then just like put that next to those in Gambia, Ghana, who are doing the dancing and the movement, speaking in tongues, very much the same, symmetrically the same.
Here's the spiritual,
go ahead.
Like language, religion, speaking in tongues. Your same ancestors communicating through you, whatever they desire. Are you taking it on board? It's just the awareness of where it comes from. One is perceived as being external, and one is perceived as being internal and making this translation through you. So it's just awareness. But to your question, because you did actually ask a question.
Go ahead.
It's to be done with Christians, Muslims, Jews, whoever. Nothing.
Jeez.
Everything must be pull. Nothing is push. If you don't find it resonates with you in your spirit, stay where you're there.
Leave it alone, yeah.
I am not a converter of man, woman, nor child. If it is for you, you will find yourself there by your intuition, which is just your people that talk to you. Now, if your people not talk to you, why the rest would I waste my time to talk to you? When I could be talking to 100 more, only my ego wants to convert you.
Oh.
I have found out one thing in my 47 years as of tomorrow.
47. Jeez.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah?
My ego matters not.
Teach us.
I am here to impress myself to convert you, who ultimately doesn't matter in the scheme of things, unless you decide you matter in the scheme of things.
Look at that. Look at that.
My ego decides with my intellect and I'm converting you. I don't give a russ. Either you come or you don't. So let's break bread what we can break bread around. Because what I do love, rather than our difference, is our commonality.
Come on, I love that. Love that. Love
so
that.
The European Union was an economic union. It wasn't an ideological, it wasn't a spiritual union, it wasn't a cultural union. You think Italian people have any respect for English cooking, brethren? No time. It was an economic union. If we all suffer a common fate, let's get behind common policy. Policy solves problems. Policy requires resources. Let's draw down on the resources, apply the policy, apply the solutions, and then we have free food for children at school if they need it. We have free education as a policy, free quality healthcare as a policy based on a common need due to the fact that we are open to a common fate. Simple things.
And brother, I love that because there's many different organizations. Let's look to our American cousins and brothers and sisters. You have FBA, Foundation of Black Americans. You have ADOS. You have Pan-African. You have the 5%ers. You have so many different groups in America. And I'm using America as an example because to me, that is a hub of everybody and everything. And I've always argued, look, regardless of whether we're atheist, homosexual, LGBT, feminist, communist, whatever your religious life persuasion is, can we put that aside and look at our commonality and what draws us together? What is the common denominator? I see too many arguments on social media on what differentiates us, on what separates us, on what Willie lynches us from each other. And we need to get away from these gender wars. We need to get away from looking at all of these matrix things that keeps us away from coming together and talk more on the things that draw us together. Last year, George Floyd, black man, gets killed by the police. Everybody came out regardless because it affects us all. In fact, Europeans were involved because they saw that and they were like, yeah, right, we've had enough. We're going to march. We're going to protest. Black people, yo, we need to keep that energy up in terms of coming together. Big up Investigator, King Investigator, Unks is in the house. Big up Investigator, he has his Zoom.
That's the hardest working man in this thing.
Yeah, that's Papa G. G. Rice and peas. Lick shot pan Babylon. Follow Andrew Mohammed, the Investigator. He's got fantastic classes every Tuesday on Zoom. Follow and subscribe to him on YouTube and onto Instagram so he can keep you informed.
Follow Brother Andrew, but just for the parents, our rites of passage for our young men and women, 1-parent family, 2-parent family, should be a prerequisite for entering our children into society. So whether that's WYLA, the new South London based,
that's right,
in Lewisham, whether it is Origin HQ, whether it is Manhood Academy, whether it is MAG, enter your children into male and female rites of passage. They are presented with the best examples of us all the way through the course of that rites of passage. So when they graduate, they are culturally confident within society to navigate the rules of this thing, irrespective of racism. It starts in here. And the good food, the gourmet meals that they're going to consume are in rites of passage.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And yeah, St. Dunstan's College, South East London, Catford. Big up to YLA, you know, big up to Andrew, big up to Daniel Pink and all of the collective that are doing that. There is
another one of our elders, my big brother, Mr. Pink.
Yes, yes, that's right, Mike. Likewise, brother. When Daniel Pink had his bookstore in Lewisham, before Lewisham was gentrified, you know, there was a Lewisham market, and I met Daniel there when I was a youth running up and down the streets of Lewisham doing madness. And this is the thing. There were things available that stirred man like me and you off the wrong path onto the right path. So we have to keep up that energy now, and the energy is there. The excuses are gone now. The excuses are gone. You know, and so there's so many different facilities for our young people, and I want you to speak about the distance learning because, you know, okay, we've had a couple of lockdowns over the last few months, and distance learning is a thing. And I remember hearing Umar Johnson say, and I, you know, a lot of people may agree or disagree with him, but what he said was true, that this is a great opportunity for the Black community globally now to start their own educational system, be online now. This is a great opportunity. If we're not in agreement with the, and all these other things, start now using the online facilities. And this is why I said there's no excuse. We got our media now. This is our media. Instagram may not be owned by us, but nonetheless, it's our media, and we got to use it like the double-edged sword, you know, of David and Goliath. He used the sword against Goliath. You know, I love the Bible. I love the scriptures, and I'm not quote unquote Christian, but I love the lessons and the teachings.
It's wisdom. It's
Come on.
application of wisdom. Look. Everything, if everything is mind, then it's all about the message. If you are triggered by terms and concepts, you got to deal with your own immature shadows.
Come on.
That's on you. Anytime you hear this thing, wisdom comes from all ethnicities, all pockets, all sources. Consume it,
Wow.
extrapolate what is going to work for you, adopt it, and then apply it. And here's the thing, this is a saying of mine: agree, adopt, apply. Agree, adopt, apply. Agree, adopt,
Yes,
apply. Don't think twice. Agree, adopt, apply. You see that thing worked on Sunday, come out and do it on Monday. If it feels uncomfortable in the beginning, come Friday, you be good with it. Agree, adopt, apply.
That's right.
Function.
Brother, I want you to go into your distance learning and your organization, what it does. I'm going to quickly get a charge for this phone. Please talk to the people. People, put forward your questions to our guest, Black Car Speakers Lounge. Yeah, baby. Black Car Speakers Lounge with our absolute esteemed guest, Dean. Dean, tell us about your program, how people can join the distance learning for our children, because I really believe it's about the young ones so they can take it to the next level. Please go ahead while I get the charger for this device. Go ahead.
So, first of all, we got to come out of calling it Dean's organization. It's not. What happened was I got sick and tired of watching the same arrested development conversations from 140 WhatsApp groups and possibly the same Facebook groups over the course of 4 years. And this was in a course of time where we'd set up a think tank called the Solution Room, which was to identify solution providers from around the country in a mapping exercise. So the Knowledge Finder, you can find at knowledgefinder.co.uk. Sign up, number of courses there created specifically for African Caribbean people. When Brother Courtney talks about the social media, those are the funnels through which we find the people. So if you go to Knowledge Finder on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, or anywhere else, or the YouTube channel, number one, please subscribe. But what you're going to get is interviews like this that actually let you know what courses are available. And when you go and you open Pandora's box, it's knowledge upon knowledge upon knowledge that we're going to be contributing to on a regular basis. And as I said, my brother from HMP TV, Robert, is shooting courses with us. So what we do in ADPAC is cross-pollinate all of these talents so that through sweat equity, you will see an entity formed very robustly, very quickly. Not because we went and got £1 million investment, but because we had £1 million worth of experience in intellectual capital, where there was a mutual exchange, where we just hit the road running, because there's experience across every single area of expertise required. So ADPAC, you can find at adpac.net. If you go to the blogs, you're going to find a number of initiatives for our young people. There's one that is about to be released very soon, which is peer training for young men who are exposed to serious youth violence. So encouraging all of our grassroots delivery partners to come involved, which is in Hackney, Haringey, Lambeth, Southwark. They train young men to be peer leaders in a safe space, which is their therapy.
Yes, sir.
17, 18, 19 years old, we're not going to therapy. But we would sit on the wall and have uninformed therapy with our brethren. which leads to Lord of the Flies. Because
Come on.
peer wisdom is no wisdom. So when you have a peer wisdom of leadership trained by men and psychological professionals to deal with the particular kind of trauma that we see, being exposed to violence and being able to manage those spaces and give young men the concepts to have the coping mechanisms to inform their operating and digestive systems with concepts. So even down to our brother Rap Raven, who has the Black Betterment Show on Fridays at 10 o'clock on YouTube, he created an excellent measurement.
Repeat his name again, brother.
Yeah. So brother Rap Raven, but if you go onto YouTube and you look for the Black Betterment Show, he created a scale that ADPAC has adopted. So the scale is 1 to 5, 0, -1 to 0, -5, which is what? High principle, 1 to 5, error prone, 0, -1 to -5. Now, when you have that very simple scale, high principle, error prone, I'm going out at 11 o'clock because my brethren just said there was a madness on Frontline. Come we go. I react, pick up a knife. In my head, error prone or high principle?
Come on.
What's the potential of the outcome? Because now I have a metric measurement scale that I can apply to absolutely every outcome in my life. If this is the digestive system, what food and tools are being digested to inform the operating system where we make all decisions. So I did say that in the mind, even in spirituality, it's the adoption of seeing the photograph that makes us capable of even contacting our ancestors, remote viewing, and all of these things. So if it's the photograph that enables us to channel, then that just means that we're converting the zeros and ones into a photograph. But the zeros and ones were always there, which are the choices. So now, your zeros and ones, if you have a myriad of choices, 100 choices, that means the zeros and ones are always there. So you got 0, 1, 0, that says react, reckless. You got 0, 0, 1, that says respond, process it with thought. You got 0, 1, 0, that says take the thing, stand back, and you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Myriad of choices.
Mathematics.
It's about the photograph. The problem with 0, 0, 1 react is that you didn't form any photograph in your mind. So that you don't even have any intention when you're in the dock and looking at 35 years with a mandatory 30. Does that make sense? So if you can convey that to young men who've experienced serious youth violence, who have a trauma and a belief in a world that is this big of their own creation, because that are the state them and young in the Matrix, then that's what they'll serve. Now, when you can provide options which just keep widening their perception of the world from a minute perception to an obtuse perception around their peers, then they also become peer influencers. So now imagine if we are building up those who are peer influencers with all of the high production value social media to inform their peers, so they're immediately influencers, speaking that language, emitting these concepts to those whose antenna is set to receive. I remember this thing enough. It's not by force. Pull as opposed to push. Because it resonates. You can't tell a young man no. My mom will say, stop bringing these hoes in my house. So I moved out. And the minute I moved out, I stopped bringing a bag of girl and I had one girl in my yard.
You're bringing it back to childhood.
So the crazy thing is, I would listen to my mom every day and just feeling is fantastic. It's marvelous. I can't hear nothing. Then I moved in my own yard and got a new value. No, I can't have this madness in my house. I met a young lady in the takeaway across the road coming up, which was just me walking across the road. She came with and I think it was Jude Lamb, and that was it.
Oh.
We were curled up for a couple of years. So the problem was, she so loved up, she stopped wanting to go to work and got fired. They used to call me the hard-o bread man, which is how she knew me, because I would go in there and buy my hard-o bread and my things. So the point that I'm making is, nothing is pushed. There's nothing to be done because Christians aren't a problem, Jews aren't a problem, and Muslims aren't a problem. They are Christians, Muslims, and Jews in their faith. We are all of the African diaspora. Let's deal with our common denominator. Whatever you find on the road to Damascus may make you poor. You may stay sore. God bless. But what you will be is a better incarnation with more tools and options than you have currently inside the Matrix.
Love it, brother. Love it, brother. You know what, bro? I love the way you put forward your messages and your choice. How did you how did you become so articulate? How do you call on these words and these phrases from the English lexicon, brother? How do you do it? Because you're brilliant. Not only you can speak, you have substance behind your words as well. But just to our audience, bro, how do you do it, man?
But King, there's no mystery. Whatever we want to do, we got to do it.
Yes, sir.
Look, I'll just say this. Watching adult movies is no practice for making love. Once you understand that, you understand everything. Because you go in that room with no experience and all your, remember I said understanding intellectually. You did watch the man walk body for 40 minutes and thought that you could just go and translate that in a room. You don't have no experience of how this thing feels. You don't have no experience of how she's going to respond. So you have no experience because there is no substitute for experience. So watching porn is no substitute for experience of making love. So if you don't want talk. If you want knowledge, read. If you tell yourself the tale, which is your personal story, that you don't have time to read, listen to an audiobook whilst you're doing what you're doing. But get in the field and talk for hundreds and thousands of hours, and you will be able to convey yourself to the lesson. Because there's no substitute. Porn is no education for making love to a woman, and we're not talking to Lil Nas X right now.
Say it all again. Repeat.
Watching porn is no substitute for the experience of making love to a woman. That will not make you a sex god.
Come on.
Experience is key, for which there is no substitute.
Absolutely. And you know, all of this little Nas X thing as well. That, you know what, in terms of giving energy to certain things, I'm not going to give that any energy. And I think everyone knows what we're talking about.
That isn't about sexuality. This is now
used
as a tool. Now, remember I said I stripped down 13 gold stars when the closest person to me was 8. I had lost the lackluster for approval, which means that my entry points, although not gone, were finite. You now go come around here because I need you to feel better about, I need to feel better about myself based on your approval. When we are addicted to that approval, all it needs is feeding. So I can imagine the trauma of a young man who would have hidden his sexuality and then openly come forward with his sexuality in the abuse, all of the trauma. So just like when people tell you, you can't be a thing, it's a big F you to the world. I get that. So all we are observing is that being played out on a global scale with infinite resources being thrown at. No problem. You go and have your 15 minutes of deviancy that you are promoting to the world. Men cannot have children. The religious books sought to write women out of them, which is nature, which is why I take on African spirituality, because it's not God, Jesus, the Holy Ghost. There must be a woman in there for birth, you know.
Come on now.
From a birth canal. So anything that seeks to write women out of history, write women out of nature, I can't align with. Now, I don't care about your sexuality. I asked one question. Do that N-word be a net win or net loss for our community? So someone will ask, but Baldwin was gay. I don't give a damn if Baldwin was gay. He was overtly a net win.
Come on.
Many heterosexual men who didn't do a damn thing. And I never heard anything about that man's sexuality. And if he came out and said, I'm gay, which he did in some interviews and the problems he had, I understand.
Yeah.
It's a human conversation. And we are having a human experience. I'm not here to judge you because you have a different act from me with a different partner from me. So yes, I am a product of the boom bye bye generation. But at 47 years old, I can't apply that to you in the same way that I did at 18, because my evolution is based on the journey and my empathy is based on the journey where you are all our children. And I tell you one thing with me and ADPAC, I want all our children.
Come on, bro.
I want Win to go over to Stonewall to be fighting us as an adversary when you're our children and our family. That makes no sense. What I do have a huge problem with is the effeminization of our men in our formative years when you aim particular messaging at our children, because I'm a father.
Come on, bro.
And I'm a father who homeschooled as well. So I don't take kindly to that, and I won't be silent within it. So you asked a question about where my articulation comes from. It comes as a desire to be an effective advocate, where you aren't going to quiet me in a room because I don't have the words and terms to deal with your BS.
Listen, guy, bro, beautiful. And I've had the honor of working with your beautiful, handsome son as well, you know, doing drama classes with him and working with West London Leaders Academy. How is he, man? How is your son, brother? You got to big him up for me, please.
Reflection
He
of
look
me.
like you're big time, you know.
Now, do you know what?
Like
he did. Now, he just the spit of his mum. But
yes.
Where I have a dark spirit, he has adopted the same dark spirit. Not for violence. This is a 14-year-old who doesn't go out. He's not in that world or that lane. Darkness isn't necessarily that. It's a way of thinking.
Yeah.
When I look at my son and I just see me, where I know I'm a Ras and had enough. When I look at him, I say, Jesus, super. When I look at you, I know exactly what people talking about when messaging comes back to that.
Yes.
And he knows. Where he will overthink, because my permutations, one little threat, one little thing, my 47 permutations can. That's him.
Go ahead.
This is the dark part. The overthinking, the being solely focused on one message. I hate this, can't be nothing else. That was the hard-headed thing that got me, which is why everything I got was through experience. But the one thing that I conveyed to him is that has been through too much for you to go and repeat any of my journey. So my son at 14 has the tools to enjoy what may become his income in later years. When he wanted to do animation, I got him the computer that he wanted to study the program evades me. But that's for his computer animation.
Adobe Shop? No.
No, none of the Adobes. It will come to me. But sometimes I keep so many things in my head, meetings with different industries in my mind. I'm looking for the drawer with the term, and if it's the wrong drawer, there's no sense me look. Because I'm not gonna find it. So he plays the guitar, he can play the keyboard by ear. So he's doing the things that he enjoys and is exploring those things that may make him money. Yes. And to a degree, I had it with an 8mm camera that my dad got me in animating He-Man and things, but there were many more distractions. But he has that same creative mind, and he draws as well, just like I did at his age. So I can fully see that I don't need to transcend to come through that you.
Nice, nice, nice one, brother. So, people, any questions for our guest today, Black Car Speakers Lounge? Make sure you follow our brother Dean. Full of wisdom, full of knowledge, spiritual. I've seen the evolution and the growth, you know. And in terms of spirituality, I had a question on my mind, and it's gone now. But in terms of connecting with the ancestors, brother, I tell you what, when I was younger, I used to see it as Doppy and Boyce. But now I understand now, when I get visitation, when I get premonitions, feeling, vibes, and all these, I get it now. I accept it. I fully accept it in terms of, okay, here's a question. What is the name of the palm reader? Okay. Somebody's asking.
Mama Essay.
Mama Essay. And people, if you study your history, man, palm reading, tarot card reading, crystal balls did not, with all due respect to the gypsy community, did not start off with the gypsies or the Druids. It started off with Africans. It started off with Africans. And it's not juju, it's not devil worship. Please, people, there's so much, we have to dispel so much myths in our minds. And as Dean's put it, it's not people's job to go and convert people. It's for you to go and investigate for yourself. I believe Jason had a question. Right, you know what, Dean? Before we get on to Jason's question, Jason, put your question again, because where a question now come up. You know, one of our entertainers, a sister who I love and revere very much, she's a comedian. And I don't want to lower the vibrations, because this vibration of conversation that we're on.
Well, I got to stop you.
Go ahead.
We can lower vibration with comedy, because laughter is our humanity. And
Yes.
it must be the totality of who we are.
Yes.
One thing, if you hear me break from the deers and the birds and the bees and I say what else, it's because it's the totality of who I am. You understand?
Yep.
I said this at the BBC once in a talk for black writers. Now, I was going there to identify black writers, putting a film together to produce. Now, I'm not talking to the English lady for her approval. So when I said, so I'll be honest, I don't know what the rest you people are doing. So the English woman, someone came up to me and said, everything you said was perfect, right up until you said what the rest. I said, but that's because you came here for the English woman and I came here for the writers. I said, yeah, gender. I said, because my office is in Bishopsgate, where I'm trying to produce films. Now you come in here looking for a job in the BBC writers' room. I'm not. So I am free to express the totality.
Love it.
Of who we're there. Okay.
Yeah, brother. So, you know, with that, beautiful, by the way, with, you know, our sister was talking about Cheryl Cole getting an R&B, being on a radio station. And, you know, I was like, okay, that's brilliant. She articulated well. She's a brilliant comedian. I love her very much.
Yeah.
And she did
it. That's her role. That's not my role.
You know, and the way, for me, I just said, you know what, sister, I love the way how you expose racism, but at the same time, telling our people to pull up the sleeve.
King, well, remember what you said? Now, I had this debate with a fellow sister. Because I'm an idiot. And the result of pulling up the sleeve was a couple of days in hospital as a byproduct of pulling up the sleeve. So I don't have to say nothing. Because I didn't find myself with a drip in the arm because I got dozy from the thing. So when I get the thing, you paid the short-term price. We don't know what the long-term price is. I don't have to say nothing because nobody tell you. So if you don't hear, you must feel. And I wish you health, happiness, and wealth. However, your body did tell you, not a week later, not a month later.
Come on.
The same day.
I
don't need to say a word. I walk in my own truth. I'm not trying to convince you either way. I just want you to be aware that your ancestors communicate to you through your blood. It is an important thing. And that there is a Davos agenda to make you roll up your sleeve to bring in the digital dispensation that will plug you into central banking digital currencies.
Wow, brother.
Which is why all of the digital currencies that were currently alternative currencies were being demonized, so that you adopt the national currencies and those currencies would have dropped dead. Fortunately, that hasn't happened. And what you need to know is that decentralized currencies protect your sovereignty and freedom of money movement, because central banking digital currencies of nations will control every transaction you make digitally. They can put a freeze around any transaction you want to make, any cross-border payment. So if you desire not to be caught up in that matrix, because for a short-term win, the synthetic stake tastes good, explore alternative currencies, which are available in a myriad of forms.
Beautiful, brother. Beautiful, beautiful. And in terms of cryptocurrency, digital currencies, so would you say you see that in the very near future being the thing to invest in? Are people
No, we should have been in it years ago, but we didn't know because we late to the table. But if you know, go and seek expert advice and get your money right, because saving it is just losing money.
Yes, exactly. Saving is losing money. Saving is the archaic thing now. It's about investing, reinvesting, and all these things now. Financial acumen is a thing that...
Education, get your acumen up.
Yes.
Get your geopolitical understanding up.
Come on.
To make the correct investments for you and your family.
And where, just quickly and succinctly, brother, I know you've said it already, where can we go, young and old, we're not old, we're young, to go and get that wealth of knowledge of financial acumen, even, you know what, military acumen as well, is, you know, knowing how to, oh man, live off the grid, you know, if you need to. And I know Joe Rogan podcasts talk about this in America all the time, but one of the dangers we have as a whole, as a nation and in our communities, that we're very comfortable. We think everything's going to be the way it is. And we got to learn certain things. We got to physically train our minds as well as our bodies and the diet and so forth. So obviously, I'm a man, and like yourself, I do exercise every day. I exercise my mind, my body, everything. I'm always on it. So to the people out there, briefly and succinctly, you know, as well as going to your platform and Andrew's and so many other teachers out there and so many other people, white and black alike, go and get that knowledge, education, invest your time in less of the big one-eyed monster and more in things purposefully that can educate and evolve you. So where would you go? Where would you say for people to go right now, tonight?
It depends what we're talking about. If we were talking about spirituality, I would tell you to go and get in the basest way from Brother Panic, because although it's broken down sometimes crudely, it's broken down succinctly, and it's about the feeling you have with it. When we talk about branding is not about the logo, it's not about the colors, where it looks, all that. It's a nonsense. It's about how you feel engaging with it. That's when we adopt. Remember the first thing I said, agree, adopt, apply. I'm going to say something quite crude that Brother Panic said that gave me the understanding of what spirituality was. And one of the guests behind the camera asked, how did I go towards African spirituality? And Brother Panic said, you know, you're sitting down with your brethren on a hot day and you see this sister walks past with a fat piece at the back and the man stands up because it's based on an idea. She didn't kiss it, you didn't touch it, and he stood up. Something happened, right? Based on a thought. So if a thought can make something happen, that's all the ethereal realm is. You drawing into the ethereal realm and you bringing it back here based on your intellect and your emotion. So my intellect and my emotion made my man stand up, right?
Go ahead.
Cool. That can be applied to everything in your life. Have the photograph, because when she gone by and you there later tonight, you're going to remember what that thing looked like. What do you say? 44, 26? Okay, I got it. So, if you got the photograph, you can transition it into your life. Agree, adopt, apply. Because I guarantee you had £10 in your pocket and there's an ice cream machine or an ice cream truck over there. You're going to run over to it. You're going to want to buy an ice cream.
Manifestation, correct.
Now you just converting the thing because you want to use your man, right?
Come on.
So if you have all these desires in your head that you want to set up a business or you want to do that, you go into the space where they are, and then you draw down on your emotions and your intellect by informing your acumen. And at some point, now you're attracting these. Such a coincidence. I mean, no, it's not a coincidence.
Universe.
Your energy was correct that you attracted the people. So there's a spiritual quickening that attracts people of a similar ilk with a similar vibration. Whether you on road and your world is this big, and your matrix meal is that, whether your matrix meal is this, whatever it is. Now imagine those people who release themselves where you can't see my fingers outside of the frame now, because they attract each other as well.
That's right. Brother, beautiful, beautiful, brother. Oh, I love it, man. You got bars. This is what the young people say, bars, you know, bars. I love that. Manifestation, and as a man thinketh, so is he. Dean, I'm not going to keep you. I'm not going to keep you, brother. I'm not going to keep the people then. I know there's questions that are flying on the screen. My screen's kind of messed up. I'm afraid to touch it because I don't want to. Okay, couple of questions. I want to do justice to the people then. Okay, I know, Jason, you asked the question. Jason, the author of the book known as 21 Rules of Blackness. I just hope everybody...
Jason Blue and Sophia Nicole.
That's... Go ahead, pick up Sophia Nicole.
21 Rules of Blackness. Put it in Amazon. Very simple book to digest. Lots of fantastic case studies for each of the 21 chapters. What I would recommend is not expensive. Buy it for you, buy it for a friend, buy it for friends' children. If you want to bring them on this journey, ADPAC will be bringing the book into our curriculum of learning. I will be shooting videos to endorse the book from next week. It is a fantastic guide to enter people into the red pill thinking, specifically for our own socioeconomic interests, spiritual and psychological. Because our part of the reparations is the psychological and spiritual part that we pay to ourselves.
Come on. So brothers and sisters, people, ladies and gentlemen, young and old, black and white, every color, creed and class, and everybody that on this right now, thank you for joining us. Please, please, please give some love, some heart signal and all those things digitally to our guests on the Black Car Speakers Lounge, Brother Dean. And you know what, Dean, we're going to do this again now. Part 2, and we're going to do it on Zoom because we're moving things to Zoom where we can do a whole presentation, PowerPoint, where we can show people more as to what we were speaking about and delve into it even more into African spirituality. You know, African spirituality is a beautiful thing. Please, people, investigate, go into it, and to follow Dean's The Movement. Please follow him. Please ask any questions to Dean on the DMs, and I'm sure he will entertain you with answers. This brother...
But I'm going to introduce you to Edison, Brother Edison from Spiritual Essence.
Yes.
Because you should always have a master when it comes to any particular discipline. And as I said, I'm an entrant. So although I will agree, adopt, apply in my life immediately, always the master. So I'm going to introduce you to Brother Edison.
Edison.
And Brother Edison inform the people from his extensive wisdom, and it is extensive. It's a beautiful thing. Jump in the pool.
Good, good. Come on, man. Let's deep. As they say, let's dive deep. Let's get deep, people. You know we don't dwell on no surface out here. Brother, thank you very much. Thank you for your time and your energy. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. People, stay with us as we bid, for now, farewell to our guest. And we're going to prepare part 2 and bring you on the Zoom, bro. And we'll bring the audience with us so we can dive deep into what we're talking about right here and make it concrete and real. Think about, bring about. Thank you, my brother. Love, appreciate you, man. And we'll talk, yeah? Thank you. Love. Cheers. Thank you. So that's our guest, Brother Dean, on the Black Car Speakers Lounge. And we want to thank you and everyone for joining us. Please follow, like, and subscribe to this channel. Please follow us on Black Car Speakers Lounge, Black Film Institute of YouTube. We need more subscribers. Share this video all around. Yeah, and as we say at Black Car Speakers Lounge, we don't wish you a happy week. We wish you a happy strong. Because words are powerful. We don't want a weekend, we want a strong end. We don't want a weekday, we want strong days. So happy strong Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and all the days ahead. And what I got from our illustrious guest, Dean, if I was to put it in a capsule, is, as the Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. And in that scripture, as foretold by Jesus, whatever you think about, man, you bring about. If you're constantly thinking about your ideas, your visions, your goals, your dreams, then reality, as we see it, will reflect. Everything we see out here is a reflection. And as Andrew, the investigator, breaks down when he does his movie breakdowns like The Matrix, is the reason why Neo, when he's looking in the mirror, if you haven't seen The Matrix, come on now, you must have seen it now, man. Come on, man. When you watch it, there's a change that takes place when he looks into the mirror. There's a change that takes place when he looks in the mirror. Michael Jackson said, I'm looking at the man in the mirror. And the mirror is the reality, the three-dimensional reality that we're living right now. And the projection of that reality, the projector machine, is this. This is the projector machine. So just like those old projection machines, and you put the slides in it, it projects the image onto the wall. Well, what are we putting in this? What are we ingesting and digesting so we can project the desired reality that we want? And I really wish I did speak to Dean more on the black love, because we're going to go into black love, man. Because there's this topic flying around with black love. Is it racist? Is it? No, we need to get into that. We need to rebuild a community. In general, we need to rebuild communities. So whatever you pull in here will reflect in this 3D reality out here, in your immediate reality. It's important you put images up, dream boards, mood boards. It's important that you do that for your children. We're going into another term for the children going back to college, young people, in university, and the children going back to school. Let's be there for them. Let's listen to them. Let's inform them. Let's inform them. They have a right to consent. Yeah. Please, people, go and check out the interview that I've done with BBC Real McCoy, Leo Mohammed, representative of the Nation of Islam and activist. Leo Mohammed is on our channel right now on YouTube, man. It's doing numbers. And also Too Bad, I want to big up Too Bad, a UK rapper. He joined us as well on the Zoom last week, which is on the YouTube channel. And I had the honor and privilege of watching him live at Catford last night, man. Now, listen, I went real last night, man. It was nice. I want to big up, DJs on the turntables last night, yeah, Master J, DJ Master J, and everybody had a good time, man, in Catford Silk Lounge last night. It was awesome. It was pretty. The women were looking gorgeous. Everybody's looking nice. Everyone was well behaved. It was really good. Too bad. Big up yourself, man. So please go on the channel, subscribe, share this channel, and remember, we're having strong days ahead. Project what you want. It's not just project what you want, and that's not to self. We got to project what we want. So as we say, at Black Car Speakers Lounge, you are the writer, you are the director, and you are the star of your own movie called life. And you know what? No matter what adversity, you will win. The star always wins. That's you. Peace and love. Think about, bring about. As a man thinketh, so is he. Message. Peace. Bars. Love ya.